welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Polaris. Of course, we're heading in towards map 2, or potentially could be the last map of the day. It's XL's pick of Split, and they've just taken bind of H2O. It's coming down to the wire. The pressure's on, especially after a brilliant resurgence. And for H2O, you got to feel for them, Sam.
Yeah, I think that if we were going to head to a third map, H2O would have needed to have won that first map. And they made it very, very close. I mean, credit where it's due. They did far better than I think any of us would have thought possible. But unfortunately, not able to clutch it out in the end. So now we head on to, as you say, what is Alliance's map pick. We know that they are, XL. We know that they are incredibly good on this map because, well, 100% win rate over 7 plays. Yeah, that's nothing to turn your nose up at. We do know that H2O are starting on the defensive half, so that does give them a little bit of an advantage. But a lot of teams recently have been getting a ridiculous amount of good results on the attacking half. Split has become far more even than it ever has been. I mean, if anybody remembers the original mid in Split, there's been some serious changes on this map that has evened things out a little bit more. So there's definitely a possibility here that this is going to be a pretty swift one for XL, but hopefully, H2O can kind of find it within themselves to give themselves a really strong buffer in the first half and hopefully put up a good fight.
Yeah, I'll take a look at the ages momentarily as well. I mean, get an understanding of what H2O want to do. Are they going to go rogue? Not too rogue. I was expecting potentially there was the possibility. We've always spoken about Neon before. We know Jaff has used it prior. I think it would be a really weird pick to go for, but with your chips down, your back's against the wall, maybe try a bit of a wild card, try and force your way into something special. Take a look at what we've got though. Relatively standard over towards XL, and same can be said as well for H2O. The only kind of slight outliers are the fade.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at H2O's composition, there are a few changes to what they normally play on this map. So historically, they would have played, the Sky, and obviously they've swapped that out for the Breach, and historically they would have played the Viper, and instead they're bringing out a Fade, because obviously historically Sova has been awful on this map. No one has ever played it. Now you can bring out something like the Fade, which gives you a lot of similar utility, and you're able to get a ton more information. And I think just based off of that, they're going to have a strong advantage, at least in that area. But if we take a look at XL's composition, of course, coming through with the double duelist is very strong. It's what they've always run. And I love that it's Chihuahua. Again, I said, it's very seldom that you'll see him off of the Cypher. Well, we get to see him on the duelist again, and it's always a spectacle.
Spike down A.
There we go. Well, not a bad start. Double for Riyadh as well. Not traded either. I mean, it's already not the easier positions. For XL, they always seem to make things tough for themselves when they're starting things off. And as you mentioned, I think Split has definitely started to become slightly more even. But of course, it is favoured still over towards the vendor side. And if H2O start to build up that momentum on their defender side of Split, we could start to see that really good run of form that we saw so prevalently at the start of map number 1. But of course, it's still early doors here. 3 versus 5, full HP on the 3 remaining for XL, and the same can't be said towards H2O. I mean, Jaff's 4 points of HP, Hadi 33, Fake Out has 23. It's a doable affair here.
Question is, can XL win a pistol? They haven't done so thus far in the series, and H2O well on their road to winning one here. But, there we go, Alive going to do his best to try and bring the numbers back in XL's favor.
Oh no.
Denied.
He just turns at the worst time. Timing is his worst enemy there. Finds one, but unfortunately, quite good at selling the fake as well. Now, Alex is deep in towards main. He's got that very strong position locked off. It's Heaven that's the biggest worry. Swinging in, takes him the damage. A Dink, in fact, been able to teleport away. The Rendezvous is saviour as he's kept alive despite to be planted. And now it's about this 2 versus 4 situation. But 3 of the players are 1 bullet away from death. This is a doable affair for sure. But for XL, they need to be crisp here. Now, Foxy falling back. Spotted out the head of one. Riyadh giving away the ruse into his backside. TPing into a slightly more open position, looking for one, laboured couple of times, but Pasek comes on the top. Foxy needs to find something special now to 1 versus 3. Going slightly aggressive, looking for something. Good for the first, and for the second, not quite. 22 points, basically everyone in the server low. Spike's been tapped, needs to be crisp here, and Foxy unable to find anything. Yet a slightly slow game in towards map number 1. It's continued into map 2 so far.
Yeah, it's been a rough going, and unfortunately, I mean, that was a tough spot to be in either way. You got two players zoning in on you. They know exactly where you are. To try and isolate that in a position where you don't really have much to use to create the isolation, it was always going to be a tough ask for him. I think that it's, you know, it helps that they at least got that spike down, so there's a teeny bit of extra cash, but doesn't make the hugest difference at the end of the day. It is going to be the typical force up here from H2O. What isn't typical is the fact that XL are forcing in as well. This is very risky play. Oh,
yeah,
Alex!
Oh, no. Oh, and he just about falls away. 25 points of HP. He's very, very fortunate. Finds the opener. That's what matters. XL go for the force, and now it's already being pushed to his limits. Fake Ananas in towards Y. It's good for one of his own. Foxy will fall. It's really starting to struggle a little bit. Mo going to be dropping, and the spike too. This is falling apart for XL. The blind coming in. Alex making it one more. And alive, left all alone with a headhunter. It's a flawless round for H2O. They barely are even scraped in round number 2.
Judge abuser. That's what that is right there. Oh, and I said that this was risky for XL, and they start that round off so rough with Patatek trying to take an aggressive stance and immediately getting shut down. And oh, there it is. Oh, wow. The prediction there from Alex as well. I mean, he knows exactly how far that satchel is going to get, and is able to pivot off of that so perfectly. So now XL in what should have been their rifle round. They're now down onto Sheriffs, bearing in mind that there's the Headhunter, which functions as a Sheriff, basically. And H2O are effectively on a bonus on round 3, which is very strange. I mean, this has elongated their economy so much. This was a big misplay from XL.
Yeah, it was. Sat this on a range, Judge. So easy. Only going one way. The Judge in that sort of position, that sort of range. Yes, please. Alex is loving those free ecos. And it's down to just 3. Over towards Elevate, XL. As I mentioned, they always seem to make things hard for themselves at the start.
They've made it that much harder because I'm gonna hop on this one, but the force,
go for it.
It's not great. They should be able to buy into the next round at the very least, but of course that's going to be H2O buying in as well, because with this being their bonus, that means that they're going to have a very strong buy into the next round. So it should be relatively equal footing, and XL could potentially still make this in that. Okay. I thought they might be able to keep, making this a little bit more expensive, bearing in mind that they did have the upgraded pistols. But unfortunately, H2O not going to allow that. Now, as predicted, finally, XL are going to be able to buy into some rifles. And H2O, yeah, there you go. That's, they're extending their bonus. I mean, this is great. Okay, so it's very likely that they will lose this. But even if they do, they know that they'll have rifles into the next round. So again, they've extended their economy off the back of XL deciding to force on round 2. So this plays very much into H2O's hands. It's an interesting decision for XL to have made. H2O pivoting off of it very well.
Yeah, really not too bad at all for them. They can just use this bonus. Anything they find, even any sort of economical damage, is a real silver lining. For XL, this is a map, as we've mentioned before, that they're so good on, but so far being really tested. Flash to come through as well. Chihuahua will just fall away, but it's Riyadh good for the first. Patek falling, hung on a second. Maybe it might go in their favor. The Spectre, that's on a range. Brilliant. Chihuahua falling. This is all falling into place. The bonus is brilliant. It's a 2 versus 5. And Mo and Alive, they have got a mammoth task ahead of them to find something. And Haddy just running and gunning to cause a couple more problems. A little bit of damage dealt. Alive down to 30 points of HP. Mo 85. This is a horrible scenario for them to be in. The Hornet's destroyed, but it doesn't matter. The spike's down. Swing it in. Mo, one of his own. Okay, yeah. We'll fall, so we'll fake out an us. Hang on a second here. They've got Vandals to work with too. There's now, of course, a completely different scenario. The slow has come through, so they know they're being flanked. And they can double back over towards that B side. They know it's open.
I mean, it is somewhat expected, and that's the trap set off. So now it's perfectly clear to Alex, if it wasn't before. I think it was to begin with. It did slow them down some, so it does give an opportunity. Oh, the slow working against them. Now it's actually forced Alex to slow things down a little bit. Yeah, but the spike will at least be planted. See if that Judge can continue to sing, and it's going to have to sing a beautiful lullaby here if they're going to be able to clutch out this round.
Oh, Alex! No. Oh my gosh, that was close. Mo, 3K to his name, but that could have very easily been Alex finding yet another with that judge. The judge abuser still going. 3-1. XL pick up their first round. And can this be the start of something for them?
If Alex had clutched that out, I might have actually rage quit the past. I'm not gonna... Okay, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't want to miss out on the action. But, I mean, that was just absolutely obscene. And then, of course, Mo getting so much value there up on top of ramp, which was a little unprecedented, but especially after like the really weird wall that he made for himself. I think it was to protect him from paint shells, but like he uses his wall really early in the round. Okay, granted, he didn't need it later on, but had he, it would have been a bit of an awkward situation to be in. So now, speaking of situations, XL find themselves in a pretty decent one because, of course, Tour de Force is online and they have rifles across the board. H2O buy into this. They have Tour de Force available as well, but Jaff also has an operator. So this could be deadly for XL.
Yeah, it's basically that double off setup, isn't it? As they're holding towards heaven. Alex as well. This is where he wants to be. Falling away at probably the worst time. It gives him that control. It doesn't matter. Alex will find it and he can fall away. But that's brilliant. 1-for-1 trade on towards Rhea. Jaff stepping up with an op of his own. This double op causing issues. Fear will come through. Chihuahua does need to be slightly cautious, but at least he got an angle to hold. Swing it in. We'll find the first. Looking for one more. Won't quite find it as of yet, as Alex is causing problems. They know Jaff is in towards backside, and he now needs to single-handedly hold down the fort. The gun barrel spotted. Missed shot. Gives away the ruse once again. Trying to shotgun up now. Got a bit of space to work with. Good for one more. They're still not clearing him towards backside, and it's board time for Harley to go and rotate. Finally gets another jab! Right click with the classic. Won't quite find it. All down to 1 versus 1 alive. He spotted, I think, him going over towards defender spawn, and alive actually might just try and follow.
Jaff may have just about saved this round. And look at this. Instead of planting, alive is now hunting. Now he's going to go into the plant, but now Hadi has changed position. He still has util available. That's going to push him off of the spike, do a little bit of damage. Her fault line isn't going to connect. Now Alive has such a good position here, but the flash is going to come out. Dodge it. Can Hadi clutch this? It's going to be close.
Doesn't want to get tunnel vision in. It's all about this. Who spots who first? It's a Vandal versus an Hadi held and wait. That was genius. Hadi expected the aggression to come through and he was able to turn it in his favor. That is brilliant from him. A little bit of BM as well just to add to it as that's H2O up to 4 and again a 3-round lead in their favor. Down to the 1 versus 1, but it's all down to one man. It's Jaffin towards backside.
Honestly,
that's what was the difference maker.
The fact that he is able to clutch this out, I am blown away. Shame tries to make the right-click dream come true, but unfortunately isn't able to. But it's okay, because Hadi is there to follow up beautifully. You know, Jaff was someone that I'd mentioned at the start and how, you know, he doesn't have the best ACS lifetime, but he has improved so much on stage 2. Like, he's up there in the 200s. He's looking so much better, and he's been performing really well here again today. So super props to him for showing that the grind really does pay off. 4-1. Huge favor for H2O here. Crazy aggression from Riyadh. Oh, he only gets 1 though. And it's with the paint shells, not even the showstopper.
One apiece. Jaff makes the second though. Jaff is causing problems, but he's traded out. Alex finding one of his own. As Ali's alive in a 1 versus 3. And as we heard just earlier, that spike is down. He's making his way through sewers, but he can be picked off a range. Alex makes it a double. 5-1 for H2O in a matter of seconds. Such a quick round from them. XO could barely even do anything.
Yeah, I don't think we were expecting too much out of them in that round.
No.
Now, however, a much needed timeout. Like, my mind is still blown at some of these H2O players. It really does feel like a completely different team to what we've seen throughout this stage. And not even to mention stage 1. Of course, bearing in mind this is a very different team to what we saw back then. But over the course of the first few weeks, you know, H2O were looking not great. And they've made a solid resurgence. I mean, even in their matchup against Alliance, most of the talent predicted that Alliance were going to come out on top of it. That's how much we'd counted out H2O. And since then, they've had a really strong resurgence. It hasn't been perfect. It hasn't been enough to really keep them above water. They have, you know, obviously they did beat Alliance. They weren't able to win map 1 of this series, but map 2, they're making it look pretty rough for XL. So now XL find themselves again in a bit of a tight spot. We are seeing them buy into some upgraded pistols. Chihuahua buying into an SMG as well. So a little bit more of a committal there in terms of cash. But they've got quite a few ultimates online yet. I'm very curious to see, are those committed? Do they try to leverage that into some sort of favor for themselves? Or do they just, you know, lose this round and save those ults for the next?
Well, of course, the Sheriff going to clear our main. Being the charge, Patatech. Not too much to spot out here. Trying to bait a shot in. Not going to find it at the moment. A nice stack here as well for H2O. I mean, they're really probably not going to be tested in a 4 versus 5 situation against just pistols and 1 Spectre in the hands of Chihuahua. I very much doubt they're going to be tested too much in towards round number 7. This should be a 6-1 start here for them. And it's already starting to show quite similar to what we saw in towards map number 1 of H2O taking the early bit of momentum. It's just a case of this time, can they finish it off? And as well, on XL's best map.
I know we've got some decent map control attempt here from XL, despite the fact that they've lost a player. And a nice little smoke to cover their cross. Riyadh is actually expecting them to push up, but that boombot not spotting anything is going to give the information that it's not a push into heaven. It's actually going to be a crossover towards the A site. And of course, the Prowler is going to spot one out. A little bit of a fake, as of course they heard that boombot, so they're going to counter mind play that boombot as they make their way back over towards heaven. But Riyadh is expecting it.
So I'm going to come through. Bloodback coming out, but the walk straight towards Hardy. Good for one. Looks to make another. Dropping in towards wide as well. Showstopper on live for Pat's sake. Might be able to find something. Jaff going to fall away, but the showstopper in his face is going to be enough for the kill. 20 points of HP. 2 versus 3. Bloodback in his face. But a utility nearly cost him, but Riyadh able to recover. Patsek will fall as we expected. H2O making a 6-1 round there. Of course, it's now a 5-round lead built up. They guarantee that at the very least they'll go into the second half with it being all tied square, but realistically, they should be able to take a bit of a lead going forward and make this kind of 7, potentially even 8 on the board. You know, if XL failed to convert this full buy, they're back to an eco once again.
XL. I mean, again, pistol round. Not really expecting too much on that. They try to keep it expensive, managed to get 2 kills in that round, and I mean, to be fair, Jaff's down to like 1,200 credits. It's not great, but the rest of the team is sitting pretty. They are under no stress, no real pressure whatsoever. This is an interesting one for XL. So they're going for a bit of a death ball over towards the A site. But of course, that Haunt is going to spot out a few of them, give the game away. Not entirely, of course. We're not going to see an over-rotation from H2O. It only spots out 1 or 2 players, so they don't know for 100% certain that the whole team is here. But that should give it away. Oh, there you go. Spots 3, gets 1, and that's the information available for H2O.
Yeah. That's the opener again. It's always Alex. He's so good at finding that opening kill. However, Resurrection to come online. This time, Sex of asking, Alex not able to find that shot. With the operator, he's been a real problem. Patatech might get a bit of timing, and he will. Good for 1. Forced back over towards heaven. Trade not coming through. Just about avoiding the spray. Flash as well. Could give him something, but what can he find? Chihuahua, all he has to do is buy some time. He can cut off rotations just from here alone. Mo gonna find Riyadh, keeping the numbers in their favor, wall in his face as well, and Alex just has to try and get it out of his face. They're gonna go aggressive, rolling thunder online. It will be avoided as well by Foxy. He's good for 1. Looks like another, and he find it. Spotted the 3rd. Teleports come through, but it's easier enough. Much better round there from XL. They only lose the life of 1 at the end of the round, but a 2nd on the board. That is much more decisive from them.
I mean, you were talking about how Foxy had a bit of a slow previous map. I think he heard you. And then he's like, you know what, you be quiet. Great round from him there. Great round from XL, all things considered. Yes, they do give away a lot of information early on, but they're able to use their utility to shut down a lot of those sight lines and cut off some of those rotations. I mean, that Sage Wall was great for stalling out time. Gives Foxy a really good angle to play off of as well. And of course, the control in heaven. The attempt at control from H2O that gets completely shut down by XL, just really, really well played there. Now, this was the round that they needed to start to bring themselves back into it. And if we take a look at H2O's economy, despite how well they've been doing, XL have kept it really expensive. So now they're kind of on the knife's edge in terms of their economy. If they lose out on this round, yeah, there's a bit of a lost streak bonus, but it's not going to be perfect. Maybe we'll see like some SMGs, maybe 1 or 2 rifles, but it won't be a perfect buy-in. And that's going to keep things rough for the squad.
Yeah, I mean, over towards H2O, they got plenty of economy to work with still in towards this round. A 4-buy coming out towards Alex on the op is the big worrisome one for XL. He's been the difference maker, consistently trying to find that opening kill and been quite successful in it. This time, over towards Heaven. They're double stacking here. Being tested for the moment. Bit of utility used, but they're just trying to bait it out from H2O, and it is actually working. Quite costly thus far. For XL, they've got no real idea. Riyadh. Information gain on him. Paycast has come through to try and deny a bit of presence, but he has to single-handedly try and hold it towards Heaven, or they can find that pathway in towards the side. Takes a ding coming through, dropped to 66, and he doesn't want to be too aggressive. Jumping off, won't find his target. Chihuahua picks him out of the sky in towards wires. They've got to wrap back between the two sides if they want to play it. Fake Ananas on towards under Heaven. What can he find though? Foxy swinging in. Cleared with ease. Jumping down for a triple. Fake Ananas single-handedly keeping them in this. Heading towards backside, but they line up. The spike drop. Chihuahua in a 1 versus 3. Both running out of ammo. Right click. And Fake Ananas just about making it a 4th for him.
That is pretty heartbreaking for XL. That looked like a round that they should easily have come out on top of, and Fake Ananas, that fade is so strong. I mean, this was one of the things that I kind of mentioned about, you know, they couldn't use the Sova on split for the longest time because, well, it was pretty useless. But because of the way that Fake Ananas's utility works, very similar to the kind of lineups that you would have for a Phoenix, you have so much more playability. And coupled with that, Fake Ananas has just gone absolutely huge. I mean, look at that beautiful Nightmare to come out there. Great follow-up, despite the fact that this is an XL buy round. Okay, despite Foxy who's only on a Sheriff, they're still able to push out pretty aggressively and take full map control. And then they just pull back. They know they have the advantage here. They know that they're firmly in control. They don't have to overextend like that. Oopsie.
Yeah, that is a slight overextension. Alex has been crucial to success, and when he falls, it slightly concerned me. Spray coming through, though. Jaff will be able to fall away. Easy from him. Alive can't find the trade. Smoke in his face as well. Denies a lot of that presence. Now, Hadi backside. We've seen Jaff succeed from this position. What can Hadi do to replicate it? Wall coming through as well. Alive, good for one of his own. And now a lot is relying on Hadi in towards his backside. Surely this time, do they clear it? The answer is no. He's playing Trigger Discipline. Will they line up? Go for the first. Looking for a second. And he'll find it again. Lads, please clear that back corner. It's the second time you've lost a round just because of it. It's now in a 1 versus 2. I'm not saying they've lost it for certain, but they've made it damn hard for Alive now. We'll tap the spike. Trying to bait out an engagement. For the moment, not going to find too much. He knows Fake Ananas is in towards Heaven. Actually double stacked. In fact, he's planting for them, and that could be his worst enemy. Less than 10 seconds to work with. He's no idea where he is, and Alive will fall again. Down to 1 man. Hadi masterclass, but it's a mistake from XL that becomes so costly. Clear the backside, please.
I'm such a fan of this fade, honestly.
Yeah.
I was like waxing lyrical about it a little bit earlier, and I saw someone in chat was also like really enjoying the fade. And I mean, can we just appreciate the fade? We were talking about how we didn't want to see the H2O neon and how that hasn't been, you know, netting the best results for them. But the fade, on the other hand, has clearly been a really, really good addition to this roster, so to speak. So really happy to see that coming out and doing so well. XL, on the other hand, not doing so well. I honestly thought that this would be the map that XL win super clean, and then there you go, we're at a 2-0, but map 3, possibly, maybe?
Potentially. It's looking like a map 3 could be on the cards. Hadi could start from him. Of course, for XL, it is just those pistols coming out here, so can't expect too much of them in the penultimate round of the half, but yeah, you know, I didn't expect it, but it's looking like a map 3 could be a potential. We could be seeing Fracture. Let's go.
Oh man, that means we're seeing the neon. Well, maybe not. Maybe they've made some new changes. Maybe get the fade instead, which I think would be pretty cool. Big full blind there. Decent trade. We take those every day of the week. But Riyadh holding this angle quite nicely. Oh, no follow-up.
Yeah, unfortunate. That's it. That's the go, of course, now. Riyadh holding down the spray. We'll find one. Needs to come through as well. Might seal the deal. In fact, as Mo and Patsek in a real tough task here. Jaffa's auto-wear, probably up towards heaven. They can just double hold it with
30 seconds
relative ease. They'll swing forward and they should be picked apart all by timing. There's the first spike down. Does he expect the second? I think he should. Pasek as well has made his presence aware. Needs to come through, but this is a done task here. Up and down the wires, trying to catch ahead. Pasek easier said than done. And Jaffa finishes things off. 9-2 we stand at the very best. XL can find 3, and this is meant to be their best map, Sam, or one of them.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of thrown. And I'll be honest, I think that XLR as well. Probably weren't expecting this to go quite so one-sided. So they're on their attacking half now. This is the worst attacking half that they have had in 3 months. In fact, the last time that they played against H2O on this map, they had a 10-2 lead. We could see a complete reversal of that. No!
The idea was there. The execution wasn't, though. He'll fall, opening kill. Got there with XL for the first time. You see XL take a definitive lead in terms of an opening kill. It needs to be a third round here. I think if this goes 10-2, this might just be done. Still very slow right now.
I think it has to be. I mean, XL realized they can't really make a mistake yet. They need another round. And there you go. That gives them a nice little advantage into this one. Okay, nice try faking on us, but it's not to be. 4 versus 2 here. This should be... okay, there you go.
Okay.
That's fine, that's fine.
Yeah, it's Alex on an op. 1 versus 3. Doable, but it will take something special. Here's a Soundkey as well. He knows they're rotating away. He's actually made it down silently, so he can start to begin somewhat of a flank with a bit of a backbone behind it. He hears Chihuahua, that last rotating player, and he might actually catch a bit of timing. But even still, finding a few kills is going to be so difficult. Tour de Force popped alive. Does he expect it so close and personal? The answer is no. He all fought. Looking for one more. Boost up and towards sight, or Heaven, may I say, looking towards sight. They're just going to play double stacks. Actually, Foxy TPing back over towards that main. This surely should be a post point in their favor unless Alex can do something monumental.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Alex. He's been really good for this H2O squad. Very consistent. But it's planted for these XL quote-unquote defenders. Oh, that's such a good paranoia. Oh, Alex.
Looking again, double swing coming through. It's Chihuahua with a 4K to find their third on the board. Every time we've seen XL find a round, it's off the back of individual brilliance on their attacking side, which isn't going to stand for the long term. They need to, as a team, step up, and it's really not been the greatest performance all around. Fuck, he's only 4-10. It's really been a bit of a lackluster showing from him this series, and I think they all need to wake up a little bit. I mean, 6-round deficit is... It's going to be tough. They did it 8-4. Yeah, that was great. But it went down to the final round, 13-11. It was as long as it could have taken. Oh, they need to be extremely careful now.
I'm not sure that I'm mad about putting Chihuahua and Patatek on duelists. You know, one of the things that we'd highlighted, and I know that, like, they had made these changes. It's not like this is the first time we're seeing it and like, oh, wow, what? But it used to be kind of Patatek on more of like an initiator controller kind of role, and then Chihuahua obviously on the sentinel role, and that has always worked really well for those two players. And then they brought in Alive and Foxy, and of course they had to make some changes, some adaptations so that everyone could kind of fit in with the new roles. But I'm not wild about it. Okay, Chihuahua is actually doing really well on Reyna, surprisingly so, but I'm kind of in Lothar's camp. Not a big fan of the Reyna pick, despite the fact that it's doing well. That doesn't necessarily mean much. What you bring to the table in terms of firepower, you have to consider what you're losing in order to have that added firepower. You have to look at the role that you're not bringing to the table as opposed to what you could be. So they could have another Sentinel. They could potentially be getting in, you know, some more information or whatever. Okay, it's a bit tough because they do run the Sage here, but they could be running an Initiator, which they're not. They're kind of running Chihuahua... Not as the Initiator, he's clearly playing a duelist, but because of the Lear, it kind of functions as like a flash, so you could be using it in kind of more of an Initiator slot. And again, not wild about it. So hopefully, I don't know, they probably won't change this in the future because, again, they have to consider the fact that Alive and Foxy are a part of the team now. And, I mean, what do you change Foxy to if you're putting how to take back onto a controller, right? You kind of screw a lot of the team dynamic there. But just from my side, not a fan of the duelist change here for these two players.
Agreed.
But we'll see. Maybe now that they're on their defensive side. Sorry, guys, as you can see, we had a slight technical pause there. These things do happen. But we should be getting back into it now. And hopefully now with XL on their defensive side, I mean, we saw a 10-2 go the distance to a 14-12. And again, going in favor of the team that were 10-2 down. Shout out Alliance. But
True that.
So we know that it is doable. And, 9-3 Curse and XL on the defensive side here. We know it is the strongest side on this map. But H2O, I favored their composition coming into this. And honestly, I haven't changed my mind. I think that they should be able to pivot off of this. If they win this pistol, that could be GG's for XL.
Yeah, I think this pistol is everything. For XL needs to be so strong. Blast back coming in. Rhea trying to go aggressive. It's actually going to work really nicely for Jaff. They're going to get the backside. Chihuahua going to dismiss away in just about. Patek. Everybody will find one. Frenzy out for yet another. Chihuahua causing issues towards the backside. He's blinded and paranoid as well. Will he stay alive? The answer is no. Hardy going to find him. Looking for one more. Low on HP. And XL will live to see another day with a 4th on the board. We did a pistol round for H2O. Might just be that final nail in the coffin. But they live to see another day. As I said, they've got a lifeline extended for them. And they're going to be able to chip away that deficit just a little bit more with a force coming in now.
Order. Stop the presses. XL just won a pistol.
The first one.
We finally did it, boys. And it was an important one as well. I was a little worried that maybe, H2O win the pistol and then XL are going to be forced to force again. And we know how well that went. So, yep, thankfully, they do actually manage to win the pistol for themselves. And they get an actually earned force here with that little bit of extra cash that they have available. H2O play it the more common way and of course opt to completely save into this to make sure that they're going to have rifles coming into the next round because, well, if they can convert their rifle round against the XL bonus, and then again they find themselves on double digits. So again, XL have to play everything to pixel perfection. Yeah, they can't really afford to make any mistakes.
I can't. I mean, it's still all the pressure is in the camp of XL. I mean, that's such a deficit. They've got 5 rounds to try and make up off the back of a really lackluster attacking side. In towards Smith, they're going aggressive. Spectre, bit of damage dealt, not the frag as of yet. There's the first, it's missing away. Now Chihuahua can just play also passive. They walk straight towards Patek, goes first, second and third with Alive. The Marshal just spamming through the smoke is good enough. Hardy, all alone. 1 versus 5, not too much to analyze here. It was just a low buy. Plate cancers won't quite find their target, but yeah, in a 1 versus 5, in a classic, there's nothing he can find. I'd be surprised if he finds an opening kill here, but now to a 9-5, we're getting to a point where, yeah, we're going to see H2O pick up a full buy here, failure to convert, and it's back to square one, back to that eco again, where potentially we could start to see things turn in favor of XL. They're running with momentum.
They also had better guns.
True.
That definitely tends to make a difference. And, everybody kind of funneling into mid there, getting absolutely mowed down. It didn't go too out of the ordinary. This is where the big test comes in for H2O and for XL, I suppose. Obviously, XL come in with a full bonus here. They didn't lose a single player in the previous round, so no unfortunate pistols. They're actually Foxy forcing into or upgrading, I suppose, into a rifle here. The hero rifle online. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him as the solo anchor over on the B site here. And this is exactly where H2O are at least posturing for the moment.
Yeah, paranoia as well could be very problematic. The second a sound cue's heard, Foxy will pop this, swing in, get a bit of damage dealt coming through. Actually going to fall off the angle now. Needs to be slightly cautious. Patek will drop in for support, and that's actually going to cause a rotate. They walk straight in, missed shot from Alive. How has he missed that, in fact? As potentially should have been that headshot there. Doesn't find it. I think he was just a little bit too quick to rendezvous away. Damage has been dealt up towards Rhea than Alex. Should be the numbers in their favour now. Doubling back over towards mid. Alex with only 49 points of HP. Sort of leading the charge. It's a much sort of better buy over towards H2O. But if they fail to convert this round against a bonus, momentum goes massively into XL's hands. And they can start to really tie this game back up.
And it wouldn't be the first time that we saw something like that happen. not even today for that matter.
30 seconds left.
But yeah, a little bit of low HP here. Thankfully, they do have rifles in their hands, so it is possible to make something happen even with low HP. But they've been stalling outside of B for so long. Finally, that execute is going to come in, but they're running into so many players.
Oh, and now Foxy in a horrible position. Back turn. He might fall. No, he got the support of it. Jaff, good for one of the trade. Try and get that spike down. Blast back in his face. Time is of the essence. And he will just about get it down. Headhunter doesn't find his target. Second time asking, can it? The answer is no. Hardy, though, in a 1v1 now gets Patatech as he drops Chihuahua. 20 points of HP. Patatech's going the wrong way as well. It's all about who spots who first. But low HP and Hardy coming. Difference maker doesn't matter. Hardy, 20 points of HP. And he comes out on top. H2O up to 10. And they double the rounds of XL once again.
Honestly, so I was a little concerned because H2O takes so long to actually execute onto the site. And by the time they finally do, reinforcements from XL have already started to come towards the site. This little bit of disorientation is huge because it allows that plant to come through. Yes, you can hit those shots even while disoriented, but it's that much harder, particularly with a weapon like the Headhunter. You have to be pixel perfect to hit those shots, and when you're disoriented, you're not. So once they get that spike down, and knowing that there's a slight gun advantage as well, H2O just pivot off of that, and it works out incredibly well. Oh, there we go. I was about to say, this is going to be important because Alive is watching that angle, but he's forced off the angle. And now, with that not spotting anyone in on the site, not only does it give the appearance that they might push onto site, but it also tells them that there's not much happening there. So there's a lot of info. This lurk into mid could also be massive. Like, H2O playing this so smart, but XL haven't given up a lot of space. They have actually, they're maintaining a lot of pressure. Excuse me, despite how much util is being thrown at them.
Exactly that. Mo, very aggressive here. Flash will come in. One, but for two, we'll find it. Pass that test with flying colours. Could he find one more? The answer is no. Alex, slight gap in that smoke. He's good enough for him. Foxy going to fall away. But now they can double stack, in fact, in towards heaven. That's just good enough. Buy some time for them to rotate back on towards the site and still lock things down in towards other A. There's been that committal play, but they've given up heaven. They could wrap through back towards mid, which could be a problem. If they drop in towards wires, Patek will be tested. Now, of course, they know they've got heaven control. They know the utility's been tested. They made the noise as well. It looks like the committal play. Backside. Foxy will fall. Chihuahua has to go huge. One of his over, Patek. Chihuahua doesn't find the kill, though. It's back to a 2 versus 2. Spike drops it towards heaven. They have to double back in. Look at the time, though. The Autobot buying it. No! Fake Ananas one more. And Alive, missed shot from him. They had the spike. They had the round. They just needed to stay alive.
Oh, man. I mean, again, I was so impressed with how much pressure XL had from the start of that round, and Mo getting those 2 opening kills was huge. But that A site, somehow H2O managed to crack it open for themselves. First they get the Mo kill, and by that point there aren't that many players holding the A site. So they're able to push out quite nicely, take control, push all the way into the back room there, wrap around up into heaven, and then it's just cleanup. 11-5 here for H2O. And XL again on a very broken force, and they've lost Patatech. This is looking so dire, and on their own map pick, no less.
On a map in which they're 7 for 7 in the last 3 months as well. I mean, this is not a story we were expecting. I mean, we were even saying in the green room we could see kind of similarities to map 2 of our first series. That was a 13-5. And it could be a 13-5 again, just not the way we expected it. With H2O taking XL's map pick or split. I mean, who would have thought? And then, of course, we go towards Fracture. But it'd be good to see Fracture as well. I know I'm personally a big fan of it. And we don't really see it too often in Polaris either. So we're cool to see how these two teams fare. But either way, XL, they're kicking themselves. This is a good opportunity for a 2-0. And they are crumbling under the pressure now. Missed shot. Mo. We'll fall back. No tap away. Chihuahua sitting close as well. He's expecting a little bit of regression through wires. It leaves him isolated over towards ramp. But he hears a lot of sound cues coming in. They know exactly where he is. Swinging in. Good for one. Dismissing away as well. It's good enough. Mo one of his own with the Guardian. It's a double with the Spectres. The fear comes forward, but it does not matter as Mo finding yet one more. It's down to Fake Ananas. He has to go up huge. He's unable to do so. Mo with a 3-piece. Keeps the dream alive. 6 for XL, but it needs to be a flawless urgence of, well, literally 5 more rounds to at least guarantee OT, and then then some.
I mean, this wasn't a terrible round in terms of what was invested. When you look at what XL had coming into it, and all they really used was like the showstopper, I believe. No, because that was a couple rounds back. So they didn't really invest much into this.
No.
And they still come out on top of it. So really, really well played to them. It was a force. It was wonky, but they make it work. Now, however, can they replicate that? That's the important thing here. See, one-off rounds aren't going to make the difference. You have to make sure that you can pivot off of it. And there you go, with XL managing, with Live managing to get that first kill there. It's a good start.
Already. Good start, of course. Alex falling. I said how crucial he's been to success, but it is just a pistol round for XL. For H2O, I say. For XL, this should be very easily chalked up to a 7th on the board here without kind of too much to take away from it. One more. We had all 4 swinging in. They're kind of inviting the aggression coming forward. Patsek will deliver quite nicely. Just down to 2. Jaff and Hadi. And of course, it's classic and a Sheriff. That Sheriff's got a lot of work to do, as I can't expect too much of the classic. Jaff is dropped. It's Hadi in a 1 versus 5. It's as we expected for XL. 7th on the board momentarily, but still a long road to getting back in towards this one. H2O, they need 2 more strokes of luck, and they push this to fracture.
I mean, this is still comebackable for XL. I mean, we've seen them do it on the previous map, and they did it quite well. And bearing in mind, the previous map was a 13-11. Okay, at that point, XL had started to build up a little bit of a run for themselves. This time around, it's them who have a bit of an uphill mountain to climb here. Now, H2O come through their pistol round, and as we said, don't really get anything done. Not so much as 1 kill to try to keep it a little bit expensive. But they can come into this one with full weaponry. Okay, Alex, a little bit of a glass cannon, unfortunately, you know, obviously buying into... I mean, he hasn't even bought into util. He's got util left over from the previous round. It's the weapon and the half armor, which makes things really rough into this round. But they do have 2 ultimates, so you know they got that going for them, and they've got the Rolling Thunder, which we know can be instrumental in making space. And as the attacking squad, that can be really important. See, they start to kind of posture over towards an A side hit, and again, I mean that Rolling Thunder, if you pop it in garage in that tight corner towards kind of where Foxy is now, you get most of the map under or most of the site. And you can then push in off of that. So there's some really good play that can be made with that ultimate. And bearing in mind that, okay, yes, there is the Empress online available for XL, but there's also the Res. So need to be cognizant of that. Even if they get that first kill, it could just be completely wiped off the board.
For sure. I mean, now for H2O, it's a slower start to this round. We've seen them go nice and hyper-aggressive at times, especially over towards A. This time, it's going to be slightly more slower. They're probably not going to find too much in towards mid it goes. Nothing on the cards for it. For XL, this is one of the most crucial rounds for them. They win this, they break the economy of H2O, and of course, then should find a decent period of success once further and keep this momentum ticking across. And of course, get ever closer to finding that 11-11 scoreline. It's very close as we stand. It's on a nice edge. This game is going down to the wire, it seems like. There's that Rolling Thunder you've spoken about. Goes in towards Heaven to Prowler to come forward. Reared in towards backside. Can he clear it? Not well. Chihuahua good for 2. That's stunning. Spike goes down. Hardy left in a 1 versus 5. And I think it's safe to say this one might be done unless he can pull off something special. But no, it's only a consolation kill. XL up to 8.
That was such a misplay from H2O. The perfectly positioned Rolling Thunder. And no, it doesn't hit Foxy, but the Prowler comes out, the Prowler connects and paranoias him. And okay, Chihuahua has dodged everything, but as they push in, they can't capitalize on all the space that they've made. And one player is able to completely shut down their push. It is unthinkable that they could have so much advantage in a round and have it completely... Oh my god, okay. Jeez, pigeon shooting.
God, that is disgusting. What a reaction from Alive. You know, Blast back his way forward. Rhea gets picked out of the air like nothing. Alive and find one more. I mean, this is stellar work.
That's nasty.
With the scope here. I mean, he's making this look easy. This should be XL up to 9 now with a 2-man advantage. He's got information in towards mid as well. Patatech going to go quite aggressive. Has a slight gap to work with. It might work in his favor. In fact, smoke in his face. Now, they've the damage over towards the wall. Broken open as well. But Patatech, crossfire with Mo, it should only go one way. Play the trade with the firepower. It should be realistically a comfortable cleanable. So I say. Over towards main. And then a look there. Alex might be tempted to go aggressive, swinging in with the headhunter. Immediately dismissed as it's left down to just 2. Fake Ananas and Hadi. The double sheriff. A lot to do. Not a lot to work with. I think this is going to be XL up to 9. Flash will actually, in fact, catch Fake Ananas, but they're going to double back over towards wires.
I don't see a world where H2O bring this back on, to be perfectly honest with everyone. 2 sheriffs can do a ton of damage, but let's be realistic here. There you go. Alive, still on his game. 4 kills in the round. And again, it's this player that I highlighted in the previous map as well. You know, not necessarily the top fragger. You can see him there down towards the bottom, chilling with Foxy. But he has these high impact moments. And it's inexplicable how he's able to... I love that we get the double angle on that. Thank you, Rod. It's inexplicable how he's able to not necessarily be that outstanding fragger, but still have so much impact. You feel like you're constantly talking about him, and you look at the scoreboard, and he's not there. And that is the mark of an incredible Sentinel player.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's really impressed me. Alex as well has really impressed me as well, I've got to say. Throughout this entire series, he seems to be kind of that crutch upon what H2O can lean on, especially when the times are looking a little bit tough for them. He seems to be a consistent factor. Oh, I missed shot. Uncharacteristic miss as well. Mo 40 is very fortunate to have his life intact. This was round number 21. 2 rounds in between these two sides. Again, a 4-buy out for H2O, but they're stuck in this brutal cycle where it's 4-buy in, failure to convert, double eco, and rinse and repeat. It's a horrible scenario for them to be in, with the momentum is all in the hands of XL. And if XL win this, they will comfortably tie this game back up to 11 apiece. And then, of course, we confirm it's going at full distance. Still, though, 5 versus 5. 45 seconds on the clock, and that tempo to a bit of a grinding hole. H2O trying to bait out a bit of that early defender side utility and trying to find a pathway in towards a site, and it's looking like B is the choice for them, but there's 3 players there to meet them. Smoke in their face as well. That might even tempt to return back over towards A potentially, but no, they're committing over towards this B site. They go. A lot of utility burn for it. Paycast has come through. Showstopper, God, Riyadh, 1 point of HP, still alive, and now we were 4. Chihuahua backside again. It'd be such a crucial angle. Swinging for Patek 1, looking for 2, low on HP as well. Just about staying alive. Fake, and that's not for much longer. Alex needs something special as he's now in a 1 versus 3, doubling back. Spikes down. This round is done. 2 seconds left, and he might just about stay alive, potentially swinging in. Patatech, his legs pulled apart. Alex makes it a 3-piece for him, but it doesn't take away from the fact that XL are just now 1 round behind.
Oh, this has been so tumultuous for this H2O squad. They had such a good start, and they've just... It feels like they've lost so much of their initial momentum. And I think that this is something with this H2O squad. The long game seems rough. You know, it's something like they need to close it out early, or they start to fumble. It's like they can't play the long game, and it's a tough position to be in. XL have made such a good resurgence. I'm not taking anything away from them. Really, really well played again. And, you know, they were the favorites coming into this matchup, so we expect them to do well. But it's a bit unfortunate here for H2O to not be able to make much more happen for themselves. They've kept it close, though. And I haven't counted them out just yet, but this there it is. I thought maybe if Alex wins that one, but unfortunately not.
That's it. Now, of course, with the one big weapon off the cards. Oh, that's unfortunate for Riyadh. Foxy held the line quite nicely. And Fake and some Jaff follow suit. Hadi has got the operator to 1 versus 5. Consolation kill will be found. Flash coming out as well. Could work in his favor. No scope, not going to quite find his target. Sektorowski does. Hadi, he'll take a no scope. Not going to say no to 2. out of 5. It's the best of a bad situation. But the bad situation, Sam, is this game is tied 11 rounds apiece. H2O from such a big lead in their favor. Look where we are now.
Yeah, I mean, the number of rounds that XL have managed to string together to find themselves at this point. They've done so well for themselves. And again, I mean, this was to be expected. And I'm not saying like, oh, well, we expected this, so it's not really good. I mean, it is good, you know, to come back from such a devastating deficit. I think it says a lot for the tenacity of this team. I think it says more that they let it get to that point where it was 9-3. So well played to bring it back in their favor. It's really H2O here who are in a very rough spot. Take a look at that economy. Even with full loss streak bonus going into the next round, they're going to be at a rough position. They have to win this because otherwise they're on match point with... It's going to be a force, obviously, but it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be ideal. So this is a do or die round.
Showstopper popped as well. They're falling away, and for good measure, in towards mid. Won't quite find the target. Try to expect someone in close and personal. Not going to be the case, though. Now, Alex on wires. Looking over towards that of A Heaven. Nothing to be found for the time being. Patek going to invite the pressure. He needs to be conclusive here. Just jiggle peek and look for something. Destroyed by Rhea, though. Slow to come through. Rez to come online as well. Horn to reveal the location. In comes the utility too. They're doubling back over towards mid, and I think it's a committal play over towards A. Alex has got some timing. Alive by fall here, and he will. Tour de force online, and he was tunnel visioned in. As H2O are now in a really good position. Completely looking the wrong way as well. That is brutal. They can last one more. Foxy will fall. It's a 2 versus 5 mode. Keeps the dream alive, though. To find the flag. Labor spray from Addy, and he could be punished here. Trying to stay alive as best as he can. Utility spamming his way through. But even staying alive is going to be a tough ask here. It's being destroyed through the box. Taking damage more and more. Mo will find one. Patek one more. 2 versus 2. We said 2 versus 5 before. But I didn't expect to hear with it right in the dying embers of map 2. As the spike is ticked, Blast back to come through. He's got at least the early bit of control. They've got a good idea. Paranoia will at least stop that early bit of momentum. Take his way. One. Needs one more as well. It's down to just Riyadh. The Raze versus Raze, but Riyadh makes it a 3-piece to keep the dream alive for H2O to push them up number 3 of Fractured. That was down to the split seconds. I mean, oh my god, that could have gone either way.
It honestly shouldn't have been that close. When it came down to the 5 versus 2, H2O should have closed that out. And the real struggle in the fact that they didn't is obviously they lose 4 weapons in that round. And I'm going to be very curious to see, yep, it's a force and it's not a good one. Oh man, XL have double...
You want to play? Let's play.
Oh man. Alright, Tour de Force comes out as well, so 3 ops? Oh man. Oh, why you gotta do him dirty like that? That's... No, that must be Alex's. Surely that's Alex's. There's no way Alive has an op and a Tour de Force. Alright, I'll just calm myself. Unless.
No, I think it is, yeah, I think it is Alex's. I think he's the one who's, of course, he's popped it now with the Spectre support. So missed shot, he can whip back in towards the SMG. I'd be very surprised if Alive has one as well, of course, with the op who needs it. But of course, if he's got the points, may as well. Here's last round.
He used it in like the previous round, so he shouldn't have that. But I mean, they still... Okay, they've dropped the op somewhere, and they can pick that back up at any time if they want to. And I like that strat. As you say, last round, commit some serious cash into that. And if they need to pick up the op again, they can.
It was the fear as well. Foxy going to fall right back in towards the site, trying to at least buy a little bit of time. The Horn reveals the location, which is good enough. But they're going over towards this side of Chihuahuas. He's all alone here. Needs to be conclusive. That's the spike as well. Trying to buy time for the rotation to come through. Alex still testing the waters. Holding down the fort with the Tour de Force, but it's good enough. He just used the barrier to deny anything from finding that kill, and now in the 4 vs 4. Jaffa's holding close to personal. The Bulldogs made it work. It's looking like we're going towards map number 3. A fracture unless something special can happen here. Alex, yet one more. I sung his praises time and time again. This is why. Single-handedly causing problems. It's all down to a man. Alex makes it a 3rd before he's shredded out. So it has to be an Alive masterclass here to deny this. Close, looking for one. Headhunter coming out. We'll find it, but ladies and gentlemen, we're going to a map number 3. We're going towards Fracture. H2O take split 13-11. These two sides so evenly matched in this one map to decide who is going to come out on top. What a performance that was, Sam.
I have to say it again, how impressed I am with H2O, with how much they've improved. I mean, we said, you know, we're only halfway through the season. Yeah. And when they did beat Alliance, they were on a 0-3. Now they're on a 1-3. Could this be the 2-3 by the end of this evening? Given how closely they've managed to push Alliance, XL, they've beat XL on their own map pick. But here's my issue. As we head towards Fracture, we know that Gaff likes to pick into the Neon. And historically, it hasn't gone very well. It's never looked incredibly strong.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that either they've done a kind of roster juggle to, you know, bring in something else, like maybe they bring the Fade instead, or you know, something to that effect. Or Jaff has put in some like crazy time and suddenly looks like a completely different beast. Right. So that's like one of the two scenarios that we're hoping for here, because I didn't think for even a second that we would be going to map 3, and H2O have proven me so wrong. I think they've proven a lot of people wrong. I think everyone were expecting this to be a pretty strong XL win, and that's not the case.
Not exactly that. They have been pushed the limits twice now. 13-11 on both maps. But of course, this one goes the way of H2O, as now we look towards Fracture. It's all to play for. I never even considered them picking up a map against XL, just how strong they've been recently. And now look where we are. I mean, I am in shock of how well H2O played. And I'll say his paces again. I think Alex, for me, has been the difference maker. I think he has been phenomenal. His impact has been stunning. I'll be interested to see how his stats finish off at the end of this map, because individually, for me, his name cropped up so often for H2O. We'll take a look at that scoreboard momentarily, and I'm really interested to see whether he topped it out. And yeah, he did 23 kills, 260 ACS, and 1.4 KDA. He was, for me, phenomenal. From start to finish, one of the best performances I've seen from a new gun like that. For H2O, they are very thankful to have him in their ranks.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, you can't really count out someone like Fake Ananas playing on that Fade, 228 ACS with a 1.9 KDA. I loved the Fade pick. I think it did so much for this team. And the fact that Fake Ananas has been able to slot into that role so well, so quickly, is really a testament to this team and how well they're able to adapt and improvise, I suppose. XL, on the other hand, it's not that they, you know, were anything to turn their noses up at. I mean, they have 3 players with over 240 ACS in that game. And you get to a point where you're like, how much harder do we need to carry?
Yeah.
But unfortunately for them, I don't know, H2O just built diff on this map. And this was even the map where XL managed to win a pistol. And still, they couldn't convert it into a win for themselves. I can't wait to see what happens on Fracture.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, now we look towards Fracture, and it's essentially a best of one to decide who takes a win under their belt. There's so much riding on the line here. I'm so excited to see how it is. We're going to throw this one to a quick break momentarily. When we are back, map number 3 on the course is decided to see who takes the series. It's going down the wire. We'll see you after the break.
Okay, let me ask this. Okay, it is Hadi. Hadi is so toxic in ranked.
No.
I'll give you one. I'll give you one strategy. This is what he does. say someone says something in rank, you'll be like, what did you say? Muted. And he'll say it in game. So the guy said, and then he doesn't mute them. So he does it to get a reaction out of the player. Full toxic.
I'm not toxic.
Sunshine. Yeah. I mean, he's not toxic directly, but like the way he speaks when he dies and like when it goes wrong, it's hilarious.
He's not toxic towards us or anything. He's just like, oh, blah blah blah, and he'll just, you know.
It's like watching Tyler 1 play League, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's really entertaining.
King's monitor fell off, didn't it?
Yeah, monitor has fallen, and like after that he's playing, and the screen is falling. And
his brothers are holding it for him and stuff.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Wasn't there once where Kim had to take the lasagna Darwin?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Kim, but I think it was lasagna pizza Darwin, and we had to pause for like 5 minutes and, you know, be like,
yeah,
technical.
It took him so long to come back.
Yeah, true. And then we could just hear him, you know, at the end, like he was just, like yelling while in the kitchen. I'm on
ready.
Reckon Remoy?
Yeah, but I say the same, Remoy.
Yeah, because he's got all his setups to do, hasn't he? So he'll probably forget to buy. Oh, he's just the Sentinel player, so he has to like run to his site, do his while listening to the IGL, do all his setup. I think he's forgot to buy before.
It's just every day playing with these guys. It's creating memories, having friends, and just being together with them is awesome to do. Because playing video games is great, but when you can play video games with someone you enjoy and spending time with, it's 10 times more enjoyable, and I really love that. So yeah, that's my answer.
Don't cry.